Hey everyone, it's Rihanna and welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about Crimson Peak, the new gothic horror romance film directed by Guillermo del Toro. I'm a huge Del Toro fan. Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favourite films and this was one of my most anticipated films of 2015. So let's talk about Crimson Peak. So Crimson Peak tells the story of Edith Cushing, played by Wasikowska, who's a young aspiring author who falls in love with the dashing, mysterious Thomas Sharp, played by Tom Hiddleston, who's over in the USA hoping to sell his mining machinery. And after a devastating family tragedy, she marries Thomas Sharp and he whisks her away to his house in England, along with his sister Lucille Sharp, played by Jessica Chastain, to a house that lives and breathes and comes alive with the ghost that haunts its halls, a creature that Edith Cushing is far too familiar with. Now, if you really wanted a full-on ghost horror story, you probably aren't going to find it in Crimson Peak. It's horribly misadvertised through the trailers on what this story is actually going to be about. It's more of a gothic romance horror with ghosts in it. Ghosts aren't exactly the main part of this story. It's more about the characters' relationships and their story as well. The film is quite meta to itself because Edith Cushing is working on her novel where it's a ghost story, but it's not actually a ghost story. It's a story with ghosts in it, and the ghosts are a metaphor for the past. And any kind of big Del Toro fan knows that he finds his monsters in his human characters rather than his supernatural characters, and Crimson Peak reminded me a lot of his really early film Devil's Backbone, with the way that it starts and finishes and with the way that the ghosts are portrayed in this film and how they are a symbolism for the past. The fact that the film is meta to itself lets you know within the first 20 minutes that you are in for this kind of gothic romance story rather than a full-on horror, so if you're going for that, you're going to be disappointed. As I said, the ghosts aren't exactly the main stars of the show in Crimson Peak, but the creature design definitely is. You can always count on Guillermo del Toro to give you creative, fantastic, amazing creature design, because this was stunning. It was incredibly well done. Wasikowska in this film wasn't exactly the strongest actor as the main lead of this film. I loved her character because she was so well-rounded and smart, but some of her acting felt quite forced. I really enjoyed the acting by Tom Hiddleston. I thought he was great as Thomas Sharp, but Jessica Chastain as Lucille Sharp steals the whole damn show. She is so consistent and she just gives this character so much life and well-roundedness in this role, even though she's not the main star of the show when it comes to the characters, but she definitely is to the actors. As for the horror elements of this film, there were a few jump scares in the film. It's more creepy than scary when it comes to the horror, and it's definitely more of a gothic romance, like a love letter to gothic romance, especially those like Frankenstein. There's a lot of foreshadowing in the film and quite a few plot twists that I did see coming that were a little bit predictable, but the film as a whole really isn't about the plot twists, it's more about the gothic romance. The tension in this film is torn between the fact that we already know what's going to happen, but we also need the character to find out, and we're just waiting and waiting, and the anticipation of the character finding out what's going to happen is making us feel more intense, but we also know what's going to happen, so it's very, very torn. The overall gothic look of the film is absolutely fantastic and beautiful. The cinematography, the costume design, the art direction, the creature design all looks fantastic, which made me feel like sometimes the film could be style over substance, but the story was incredibly strong. I found this film to be quite slow but satisfying in its final act, which was my favourite part and probably the strongest part of this film. I was clawing at the edge of my seats with the anticipation and tension in the final act of this film. That being said, that I found the film quite slow but satisfying. There were scenes that were incredibly rushed that could have been used to build up more tension but were completely like wasted in that department. I have so many mixed feelings about Crimson Peak. As much as I loved the performances and loved the gothic romance in the film and how the ghosts aren't the main monster of the film, I love those parts, but I was expecting a little bit more from Crimson Peak, and also Guillermo del Toro, whose directing is good but not as good as things like Pan's Labyrinth. So just because my opinions are so torn for now, I will be seeing the film again just to clarify, and we'll probably buy it on DVD. I'm still going to give Crimson Peak a draw. If you guys have seen Crimson Peak, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments, and what is your favourite Guillermo del Toro film. If you liked the review, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing lots more TV reviews and movie reviews for you guys very, very soon. As always, all my social media links, including my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, are down below in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you today. Bye!